They're in Oklahoma City. They're going to take on the 39-9 leaders of the Western Conference, Oklahoma City Thunder. They will be doing so without Kevin Durant, who is out with an ankle injury, will not play tonight. So I ask all of you, does it even matter? Does the game tonight actually have any real ramifications to the Phoenix Suns season? Doesn't everything feel like it hangs on the direction this team chooses to go in? Before we learned that Kevin Durant wasn't playing tonight, I think we all thought that this game wasn't going to go well for the Suns. Oklahoma City is the best team in the Western Conference. They're one of the best teams in the NBA. The Suns, not one of the best teams in the NBA, not one of the best teams in the Western Conference. Coming off of a loss, 2 losses in a row to Portland, not playing very good basketball. We kind of could all see the writing on the wall here. This wasn't going to go well for the Phoenix Suns. We don't trust them at all in the slightest against teams of this caliber, and there's no reason to. They haven't given us a reason to believe that they can win games like tonight. We're all kind of looking at the schedule, looking past games like this, not because we think they're in the bag, but because we know how they're going to go. So we're just looking for the next pocket of games, the next section of games where you can pick up a win. That's why we're looking at Utah later in the week. You're looking at Chicago, at Toronto next weekend. You're looking for all of these different games that could potentially help the Suns in the standings, and you just look past Oklahoma City. We were doing that before Kevin Durant was ruled out with an injury. Now they're going to be without Kevin Durant. Suns don't stand a chance tonight. And so all of the reasons why we were looking past this game originally get multiplied because Kevin Durant is not going to play. Now, I think an important piece of information, Kevin Durant was with the team. He was at shoot-around today. So was Yusuf Nurkic. So was Bradley Beal. Dwayne Rankin made sure to point that out on social media today, that those 3 guys were at shoot-around. There's a lot of conversation on those 3 guys potentially going out the door in some fashion. I think Bradley Beal obviously the least likely, then Kevin Durant, then Yusuf Nurkic being the most likely. But those are the 3 guys. And they were all at shoot-around today. They all were there. So if there was something up, we probably wouldn't see them there participating. So now we wait. And we wait because tonight's result, win or loss, truthfully, is not going to determine the direction the Suns take. The previous 49 games determine the path that the Suns will have taken. There's 24-ish hours until the trade deadline. The Suns have been working the phones probably since the middle of December when the Jimmy Butler stuff first started. They have been aggressively working the phones, I would say, all of January and all the way through up until this point. They are aggressively looking to try to find a path forward, to try to improve this roster in some way. They are trying. They are turning over every stone, uncovering every rock. They are trying to find every single way possible, imaginable, that is available to them despite having all of the limitations that they have. They are trying to make this team better. Or they've decided to make a pivot and they are exploring options to trade for Kevin Durant. That decision, whatever they're actively working on right now as we sit here today, whatever they are going to work on tomorrow before the 1 p.m. trade deadline, has nothing to do with beating Oklahoma. They beat Oklahoma City tonight shorthanded. That's not going to all of a sudden, at least it shouldn't, all of a sudden change the way they operate at the deadline. The hay is in the barn, as they say. This decision has already been made. You know what determined the direction the Suns are going to go in one way or the other? Losing to Portland twice. Losing to a shorthanded Memphis team at home. Losing to Brooklyn at home. Losing to Detroit. Losing to Charlotte. Losing to Atlanta. Those losses are what is going to determine the direction of this team. Being 25-24, 49 games into the season as you tip off Game 50 tonight against Oklahoma City, and I appreciate Oklahoma City, a 7:30 start tonight. So at least we earned back a half hour from the 8 o'clock starts that we had the last 2 nights. So a brisk, nice 7:30 start tonight that I'll be able to sit down and watch. And truthfully, I'll show everybody on the YouTube channel. I've got the notebook. So it is a red notebook. It has my notes for Suns games. You'll see those are the notes from the last Portland game. And I'll tell you, normally what I do when the show gets over today and we're done posting all the social media clips, I set up the notebook. And I write down all the important information, what the teams did their last time out. When the game starts, the starting lineups go in there, and I'm constantly taking notes on things that I feel are important that I want to reference again when we get back in here the next day. I truly don't know how many notes are going to be in this notebook tonight. I'm going to do my best because I'm going to sit down and watch this game, but I have a tough time. So, producer Dylan, let's add to the list. We've had back-to-back 10s. The last one had an exclamation point behind it. We are going to break out something we have never done before. Put a 2 on this game. It doesn't really matter. You don't expect them to win. There's no Kevin Durant. If they lose, I'm not going to say, oh, they missed an opportunity. They let one slip away. Because at the end of the day, not having Kevin Durant, I can't evaluate this team. It's what we said at the beginning of the season. Remember when Kevin Durant got hurt and I said, it's hard. I'm not going to, this is not the team that they're going to be come playoff. When we were discussing trading for Jimmy Butler and evaluating what's on the roster, I said, this is not going to be the team post February 6th. This is not going to be the team post the trade deadline. So it's hard to give them credit for when they win or really get on them when they lose. But as time progresses and as we get closer and closer to the deadline, they're going to play their 50th game tonight. After tonight, there will be 31 games left in the season. 31. I don't know what the team I'm going to evaluate for the next 31 games. I don't know what that team's going to look like yet. I've got 2 more days before I get to that point. 2 more days. The team I had to evaluate for 49 after tonight, 50 games, with each passing game and us moving closer and closer to the deadline, it's less of an evaluation. It's less of, I can't take anything away from tonight. I'm going to look more in the big picture, especially if the roster remains relatively unchanged. And truthfully, between friends here on the show, do we really think the Suns are going to do absolutely nothing before 1 o'clock tomorrow? They're doing something. And I don't know if it's something we want. I don't know if we want them to trade Kevin Durant if it means Jimmy Butler's still coming in. I don't know if we want them to trade for Jimmy Butler if it means Draymond Green's also coming with him. I don't know if we want that, but they might do it. They might also choose to keep this roster intact and make some changes on the margins. All of that is still possible. What doesn't feel very likely is a team that has been this loud in rumors, that has been talked about this much, all of a sudden sitting back, kicking their feet up and saying, yeah, we're good. We're not going to do anything. We'll let everybody else make moves. We're going to do what Cleveland's doing, what Oklahoma City's doing. We're just going to sit back and not do anything. We're not going to make a big move. That doesn't feel like it's in the cards right now. So, I don't know. If the Suns win tonight, that'd be fantastic. I would love to have notes from a Suns victory, and we could give them credit because it would be the definition of stealing a game. On the road, best team in the Western Conference, without Kevin Durant, all the noise about your team's entire direction changing underneath you. If you go into Oklahoma City and win, we're going to open the show with it. You're going to get all the praise in the world because you stole one. We said that for every game you lose to Portland or to Washington or to Utah along this stretch, you have to make one up somewhere. This would count for 2 if you beat Oklahoma City. It would count as a double if you did that. Great. If you lose, I am not going to get on you. You're not supposed to win this game tonight. That's why we give it a 2 importance. What's more important for the Phoenix Suns is picking their direction and what they choose to do between now and 1 o'clock tomorrow. That's what really matters. That's the importance of today and tomorrow. And then, once the trade deadline settles, games start to mean more again. What happens against you? This game in particular, where it is on the schedule, with everything that's happening, it just gets a 2 on the importance level. You're not going to win it. I'm not going to be upset if you don't win it. I'm going to be pleasantly surprised if you do win it. But in the end of the day, it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. The direction, because we can talk about all the rumors in the world. We can go back and forth on what the Suns are actually thinking or actually doing. The people that know, the people that are the decision makers, that are actually going through this process right now, they have made up their mind already. Tonight's game against Oklahoma City shouldn't and isn't changing their thought process. They're committed. They're in. They're invested in whatever direction they have decided to go in. We're all trying to catch up to what that direction is. We'll see that direction when these moves get finalized, but they're locked in. They have committed to a direction. Tonight's game does 0. But it is a basketball game. If they are going to keep this thing intact, it does kind of matter, so we're giving it a 2 on the importance scale. A 2.